Jeno Yoweri Kaguta Museveni eno bidalamu anti abazungu bulijjo abamuwa amaanyi bulijjo beyesigulirako abeyeyinulirako okukola byonna byabadde akola ku bannayuganda. Kyagulanyi Sentamu Robert Bobi Wine ekiri mu ggwanga Uganda n'engeri gyeno gye bintu gye babituttemu ate n'obujulizi obweyongera okuvaayo ku Jeno Museveni ebintu byakola bannayuganda n'okuba no tagwanidde kuba mukulembeze wa ggwanga Uganda namusa egenda kutuuka ku nnyoge mpola nga Kyagulanyi mugamba nti ngenda kuvuga labadaba style. Tutandike endoza tusookere ku mbeera bweti wano tutandike bwe tutidde tutambule.
Cheptegei won a gold medal at the Olympics, the first gold medal for track and field. I hope that would cheer you, but for me, it doesn't cheer me because I know how sports was wrestled out of my hands. Kato, the gold should cheer you perhaps, and that tells you the level of which Ugandan youth can go. The whole world yesterday stood standstill for Cheptegei. The commentary was, well, it was from the, I don't know whether it was a Briton or it was, the commentator said, what a way to represent your country. I have visited Uganda. That's what the man said. I have visited Uganda. The country has such humble people. And then I'm like, oh, I wish these guys know that behind those humble people, there is a dictator. There is pain. Because behind those humble people, behind that good representation, there are younger people who are in jail. Behind those younger people, that good representation, sports was smuggled from some of us. I keep telling Ugandans that I'm one of the founders of current running in Uganda. That current running you are seeing, I have the blueprint. But they managed to smuggle it us and for Uganda in police, in prisons, or it's been army. Now look at the US, those who look at the US Olympic team, they are college students. Most of them are college students. And I am Iowa. It has 947 cities, and every city has an Olympics stadium. Every city has an Olympic-sized stadium. Every secondary school has. I am neighborhood to Drake University, actually. I'm a neighbor to Drake University, but our stadium holds Olympic trials for US, usually. The blue, the stadium. And if you see here, oh my goodness. Some of us watched the Olympic, the US trials, and we are contented that we have watched the Olympic Games already. Because the quality of athletes that the US takes, now we are celebrating maybe about one or two other medals, because I've seen somebody has won a medal in swimming. Every university has a swimming pool, Olympic size. And that tells you how much the youths are invested in. And for Uganda to go anywhere, for Uganda to serve its neck, they must invest more in the youths. You need, I'm talking about every school here, whether a level of secondary school, it has a stadium worth holding whether they have their so-called football, American football, whether you talk about every stadium is electronic. And sometimes when you see Ugandans celebrating, you're like, oh, some of us see that celebration and get depressed. I'm like, one time I mentioned that Cheptegei has killed sports in Uganda, and people don't. They have all ganged around Cheptegei to celebrate. Uganda will tell you they have won. They have most. To be having, people don't know that already have a Cheptegei. If you watch the US or trials, the person who won the gold medal, the previous Olympics, participating because she was beaten. And she's a thing more from a refugee from Southern Sudan. She's beaten Olympic trials here. That tells you the level of competitiveness of the youths here. That's our youths are now going to stone throwing on the roads. Just made a comment on the Nairobi governor being stoned. Joseph, you and me are in the US. Where can you get a stone in the US? You can. I don't know what other states look like, but in get it. Because every place is clean, green and clean. But when you look at Nairobi, where they say they are stoning Sekaja, the governor, I'm like, let him be stoned. How can people live in such filth? The Kibera, they call it the Kibera slums. It's just stones. It's dust. So let them be stoned. We admire these countries where we are because it just shows you what governance looks like. So the younger people, in fact, today I was like, when I listened to young people talking about Uganda prisons, I talked about Uganda prisons not as a prisoner, but as a service provider. I was the first person who used to ask questions way back in 98, 99, that why are we supplying condoms to men in prisons? I would ask. Joseph Etima was the commissioner of prisons then. The late Joseph Etima, and you tell me that they know how to use them. I said, but they use them on who? I would ask. Now I was explaining to people what Luzira relationship with. If I can explain to you what paroling means, if you accused me falsely and you took me to Luzira, I go there a bitter person and harbor vengeance. So as you imprison me, when I'm supposed to be released, I'm supposed to be released a person who is not going back to fight back. I'm supposed to be released a person who has reconciled. That's why people like Mandela were in prisons. That's what tells you what prison is supposed to be. Much as Mandela suffered, but from prisons he came out a clean man. He came out a humble man. He came out that if I went out with bitterness, I would kill someone. I would kill people. So Luzira stroke Butabika, the two are related. But when you look at Luzira and Butabika, the two are abused. Recently, there were very many young people who are telling. I got one, I even posted a video somewhere who was saying that I am here not as a mentally sick person. They just picked us on the streets. They just rounded us on the streets and they brought us to Butabika. And they're calling us we are mentally sick. I am not mentally sick. I'm just here locked up. Now Butabika itself has become a prison. It's not a parole center anymore. That somebody who was accused of murder, when he comes out, should not be murdering people. He should have cleaned up. Now the younger people are talking about sort of what hurts me maybe cut off from. I'll tell you that when you're nobody in that country, people don't listen to you. I talked about Luzira prisons long time ago, even in the writing, telling people that that place is not a prison anymore. That place needs closing. Now the current state of Luzira prisons, if you listen carefully, the population, the congestion, is a TB center. It's an epicenter for disease. You'd think of the public health department saying, close that prisons. How many of you have heard that some people want to go to UK prisons because of the serenity, good feeding, sports, whatever? Sebagala was in prison here and for money. When he went back, he became a mayor. That's what prison is supposed to be, transformational. But the Ugandan prisons, you go there, you come out sick, you come out derailed, you come out totally wasted. Look at Segirinya. He just can't recover. I used to warn people that prisons, I saw the Museveni is taking over prisons in the medical system. Now the medic in Reserve cannot even make recommendations like some of us used to make. They can't. People are just silent, people are just enjoying, and people are just seeing people being tortured. Because first of all, some younger people are supposed to pass through the parole center. Why are you here? Does this person deserve to, is he mentally sick? Did he commit this? If not, they recommend very fast, people are released. But look at the sad stories that are coming from Luzira. So for me, Kato, my sadness is, when will Ugandans listen? Although I'm also happy that now they seem to have listened. In fact, Docus, how long have we been on Stand Up Uganda? These people have just started this thing recently. It's now about 1 month. But we've been here speaking every other day, stand up, stand up, stand up. Uganda is bleeding. People don't listen. Just because some of us don't will that power to be listened to. Docus, this space is now almost, I don't know how many years. We've celebrated, I don't know how many years of speaking. Now we need action. For me, I can celebrate action on the roads now. And I feel like just sitting down and watching, because this is what we've been talking about. Yes, other people are choosing political lines, but I think I have said this severally. What is needed in Uganda is not a political line. We need a revolution. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gani, for those very good remarks. Yes, first of all, I want to say that I'm very proud of Tagay for that gold medal. It did us proud. As you said, obviously, the sports, the regime has basically undermined sports and not investing it and not investing in the youth and not investing in facilities. But nevertheless, that does not take away from Cheptegei's achievement, because it can inspire so many other young people. And also it shows the capacity and the potential we have in Uganda if only the regime were to invest in the facilities as they're talking about, that's similar to what we have in the US and other countries. So thank you so much. I know we are close to the moment of silence, but having said that, you talked about the prisons in Uganda, and beyond the prisons, recently the kids that have been arrested and some abducted, the few that have been released have been talked about being sodomized by the CMI. In CMI, it's not even in prison, in CMI, being sodomized by these regime agents, security agents. So this is a regime that kind of rioted Ugandans against the anti-LGBTQ law, saying that these people are trying to sodomize the children or whatever. But meanwhile, this is being reported over many, many years that in Uganda, even in northern Uganda during the war, the regime army agents were sodomizing people in northern Uganda as a policy. So Ugandans have to wake up and say this regime is just an evil regime. They say one thing, but they do something different. So beyond the prisons, when the regime arrests people, abducts people, they do all types of ill to them, and we need to hold them to account. So thank you so much for that. And of course, finally, the youth in Kenya, as I said, the youth in Uganda are not being invested in, but the youth in Kenya stood up, and it's great that the youth in Uganda are standing up, and we all need to support them. And as I said, it should not be political. It should be a revolution that involves all of us, and we should forget about our party labels and just say, you know what, enough is enough. Let's support everyone. Let's all rally, whether religious leaders, political leaders, cultural leaders. Let's all stand up behind these youth and support their cause. Thank you. So now, moment of silence. Doctors, can you please lead us through the moment of silence? It's time for the moment of silence, Doctors. Hopefully you are there.
It's terrible.
I just wanted to say thank you. When your heart is heavy, even if some good news comes, and it pains. And my brother, Dr. James, you see, how will the youths benefit? Many years ago, when I was studying in Narua, we used to have the biggest stadium that was called Barifa. Now we are talking about Barifa is being occupied by the army. What are they doing there? when you go, who is Minister of Education and Sports? That answers all the question where the situation we find ourselves in. And you're talking about prison and the rest of it. Those who are in those years ago, you have to remember that the revolution songs were many were written by South Africans, and one of it is Lucky Dube. And Lucky Dube says something. They will not build schools anymore. They will build prison. They will, and is that not what is happening in Uganda? And those are things that it just hurts. We used to have music competition across the district. It's dead. We used to have sports where every child has a dream to go and see Kampala. So anyway, I just wanted to follow up on that. Yes, there's that achievement, but there are so many Ugandans who can benefit, who can make their names, but it's only one person. You're right to say, why is it only one person? He's going to die and he's going to collapse. Who else is going to be there? So those are the things that we really, really need to pray and see our country. And again, it will come at a cost. And the cost we just need to. There's no way we can pay for our freedom. We just have to earn it with pain. So thank you. That's my follow-up to Dr. James. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kato, for those comments. Yes, just re-echo that yes, it should be more than just one person. Though, of course, we have to celebrate the achievement of putting Uganda's name on the map. Of course, some people don't know where it is, but we can do much better than that, only if you had a regime that really did care, investing in the facilities. Yeah, so thank you so much for that. Anyone? I see Mr. Mugeni, I guess, wants to follow up on that. Mr. Mugeni, can you please mute, add to this? I guess you want to add more?
I think it's nostalgia or nostalgic when I hear Kato mention want to go and compete in Kampala. Then it was John Akibwa who was our idol, our iconic idol. We all wanted to be a John Akibwa at some time. And if you follow, I mean, for me, I'm documented. I talked about stadiums. I wrote about stadiums. I even mentioned to Museveni that I wrote an article that read New Vision that Museveni, Uganda doesn't need you giving a bus. It doesn't need you giving a bus. As a president comes to celebrate by giving a bus to the Uganda Cranes, I said, no, the Uganda Cranes needs more support, which is creating more footballers. For you come to give a bus and you because the Cranes won, I don't know which match, you know, and so some of us, by the way, Katomi, I left a school not with the first grade as you think. I left a school with a recommendation that said I would benefit from the sporting world. And that was 1988. That was almost when Museveni had just come in. I left school with a recommendation, a living certificate that shows that James would benefit more from a sporting world because I was an icon in sports in the Eastern region. And the first job I got before even going back to school, before starting this medical journey, was recruitment in Bank of Uganda as a sportsman. Now I'm talking about this because when I was recruited, Bank of Uganda had a sports club, Post Office had a sports club, Coffee had a sports club, Fisheries had a sports club, UEB had a sports club, and all these clubs were looking for talented young people. And for me, I was Bank of Uganda. You can imagine living Tororo as a Bank of Uganda recruit. And then they did away with all the sports clubs. They did away with all the parastatals. Now they have only, that's why the pain comes in, that sports has now been reduced. Kiprotich wins a gold medal and he just disappears in prison. There is no sports in prison. He disappeared in prison. Cheptegei won a gold medal and he's now a police officer. They are waiting. You look at the Congolese boxer. I don't know whether they're following the Olympics. The Congolese boxer, after fighting, he stood and took a horn of salute and communicated to the world about the death in Congo. What can Cheptegei do with his fame? He's silent because he's now Order Moja. And yet people use that opportunity to speak to the world. When the world is listening to you, you say, you people, look here, much as I'm running, the youths at home can't run. The youths at home are you know, people train athletes to, they train to look at an opportune moment to show the world. But ours, Cheptegei won that medal and is silent. Yesterday when I saw Halima, in fact, I'm going to post for you here. Halima was from my club. I saw Halima lose yesterday, but I'm like, now, how many Halimas could be running if I was still in Uganda? They have exploited that girl. She ran now. Yesterday she appeared at the Olympics and she went out in the qualifying round. She could not make it the next level. And that is what they are doing with Cheptegei. After Cheptegei, you'll find that sports will die. So it hurts. The youths have energy, and the youthful energy is what you are seeing now being wasted in politics. Right now, I mean, look at the US politicians. How old are they? And the system that involves here, young people are trained, are educated, they are mentored. Chankwanzi only produces cadres. It doesn't produce people who can fight for the country. It doesn't produce people who can challenge the country. If you followed the young man who shot Trump here, the history is a bit related to, you want young people to take over, give way. And the guy acted independently. People just have independent minds because they have been trained to reason. A constitution is given at 8th grade here, and it's a passage to citizenship for every citizen in the US. At 8th grade, I think that is S1 in Uganda. The US person, you'll arrest anyone and they are quoting for you their rights. They are quoting for you an article. You stop with the police and the police stops a young person, the person will tell you, you're infringing on my right, and they're able to quote the constitution because they have read it and internalized it. I have never seen the Ugandan constitution. I even don't know any article in it at this age, at 60. Look at how these guys, in fact, when you look at the Ugandan population, they have a primitive population. There are people who even don't know that they are supposed to live. In fact, they owe their living to God. They just don't, they see Katonda ya Gadde. They attribute their poverty and they will pray and pray. But there's very little prayer here. By the way, in the US, there's prayer. People normally say a lot of talk about trash about US, but there's a church almost here in every 200 meters, and the churches here are centers of excellence. I work with the Catholic Health Initiative. You didn't see how many helicopters these fellas have as ambulances. You can talk and talk. You know, for me, I even feel like stopping to talk because it is causing me high blood pressure. My pressure this morning, a doctor, you're my doctor. It was 150 over 101. And I'm sure if I took it after this speech, you'll find that I'm almost supposed to be in coma. Thank you.
Thank you so much, James William Mugeni, for that passionate, talk about what ails our country. Well, I mean, again, that goes back to what we do. And right now we have a march to parliament, and the youth, the sports, a lack of facilities, lack of sports, lack of investments. It's sad that, as you said, Cheptegei should definitely use his platform, like all of us, or whatever platform we have, especially when you're on such a level, to speak up for what ails our country. But meanwhile, the youth are taking it in their hands They're saying, you know what, we don't have jobs. 90% of the graduates from university do not get jobs. Many are ending up in the Middle East as slaves or doing all types of jobs. So they are leading the way, and they're seeing everything we're seeing. And the bottom line is all what we're talking about is because Museveni and his regime is the hindrance to what the Uganda will need. Is a hindrance to the facilities we need to support sports, to put up sports facilities, to support the youth, to nurture their talents. So everything, again, this is a lot of lamentation, but what do we do now? And the key thing is that we have the March of Parliament happening now. How do we link in? How do we support the youth so that, of course, some people are talking about different routes of getting where we need to get, but everything helps. Everything helps. If the youth get momentum, look at what the youth in Kenya have done. They've forced not only Ruto to resign the bill, the tax bill that he had signed into law, or the parliament had signed into law. They forced him to fire most of his cabinet, and now they're demanding that he resign. But Kenya is, okay, maybe they don't have the food, they're not as blessed with whatever, but their situation is still, compared to the fact that Museveni has been in power for 40 years, he's killing us, he's suppressing our people, he's suppressing us, he's doing all types of ills to us. Our situation is much worse, and we failed to rise up. So now, how do we all link in? How do we appeal to our church leaders, our cultural leaders? Because of course, in the churches, they talk about, the 10 commandments, the Christian churches, 10 commandments, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not. Nothing of that is happening. What are these church leaders saying? How are they, why don't they rally behind the Uganda? We're saying, enough of the stealing, enough of the sodomizing of the young people when they go to prisons. These church leaders stood up against the LGBT law. But meanwhile, because young kids are being sodomized by SCMI agents and all types of whatever, but the churches are silent. So where do the churches stand? Where do all the leaders stand with this March of Parliament? How do we support our youth? How do we stop lamenting and do something? We have something in front of us. How do we link in? It's great that we are protesting. We're going to go in the UK on Friday and protest. We protested last Friday in New York, and understand there are global protests are planned on the 9th next weekend. But I think lamentations, we lament. We're very good at lamenting as Ugandans. But I don't know if that's enough therapy, but I think it's not enough. And I just hope that we somehow find a way to support the youth so that this March of Parliament is goes far. And then eventually we can also get support from the international community once they see that we are taking action. So thank you so much for that. Now, I think I call on Mr. Joe Walcasso because I see his hand. Mr. Mgeni, I think you just spoke. I don't know if this is a new hand, but I'm going to lower it for now. You can put it back if it's a new hand. But for now, let me call on Mr. Joe to say what you need to say. Joe, welcome. Good to see you. Mr. Joe, can you unmute, please?
Hello, comrade.
Yes.
Actually, I'm in a place where it's a bit hard to speak. I don't even know how the hand raised itself.
Oh.
But probably I must speak.
Right. I guess.
Let's the Holy Spirit wants me to speak, I guess.
Yes, must.
Yes, yeah. I'll just be brief. Yeah, thank you very much for deliberating, comrades, and the fight goes on. And as you said, the young people are leading this fight, and we really must all get on board. And unity is very, very important. But going forward, we need to build this broad coalition of the different professions, doctors, nurses, allied medical professionals, teachers, policemen themselves, security forces, because everybody has been affected one way or another by this corruption. So the march to parliament is real, and it is going to be executed in different different styles or different forms. But I think we let's tune in and let's be alert, and let's all get involved, and let's continue to mobilize, particularly the countryside, those hard to reach groups. So each one of us is from a region, and I think we can contribute, we can play our part. Yeah. So I think I'll be very, very brief because where I am, it's very hard to speak. But that is what I have to say. I yield the mic, comrade. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Yes, thank you very much for that. Yes, let's all get involved. Let's all support them any way we can. Let's mobilize. I know that the kids are saying this is partless, this is tribalist, this is all types of, like they are not linking it to any tribe or any party, anything. It's a Ugandan movement. And I know that many of us are affiliated to MOVE or to other parties, but this is not, I guess the idea is that they don't want Museveni to say these are, these are just a few new activists or a few DFDC activists or a few UPC activists or DP, whatever it wants. So the idea is that Ugandans should feel that this is a collective uprising, a collective, because we are all affected, whether we're FDC, whether we move, whether we're whatever, we are all affected by the lack of services, by the corruption, by all the oppression that's happening, by the, the fact that, you go to hospital, there are no medicines, and there was death traps. So we are all affected equally, whatever party we are. So we should not be deterred by saying, oh, that's a no thing, so we're not going to go. This should be a Ugandan thing. So let's not be deterred by the fact that the youth are saying they don't want to be affiliated or linked to any one group, party, or tribe. So let's mobilize nationwide, reach out to our network to support the youth movement, because this could be the beginning of something big. And the fact that they actually went to the streets after Museveni said, you're playing with fire. I mean, that is actually huge. That's like means that there is the fear factor is beginning to diminish. And this is the large reason why we are not going to the streets, is because Museveni is known to be ruthless. We can do anything. But the kids have stood up despite the clear warning from Museveni. They were playing with fire, and the police saying that the protests were not allowed. So despite the fact that maybe many of them are not even well conversant with the Constitution, at least the youth, I think most of my university students, they are aware of their rights, and we all obviously have to get that, share that with the rest of the population, saying, you are entitled and to speak out on their behalf, and of course, point out all the issues on why we should be standing up. Roads, the hospitals, the schools, the lack of jobs, the oppression, all that. So thank you so much, Joe. And I don't know if anyone, I don't see any other hand. Mr. Mgeni, okay, Mr. Mgeni, I see you have your hand again. Please unmute and add more to the discussion.
Well, there's something I noted that is happening right now. In the moment you have mentioned the FDC youths who are arrested in Kenya. Before, I think about 3 weeks ago, I warned Ugandans that Museveni is trying to act skits. Very soon you'll find the terrorism thing coming in. Because in his own speech, he mentioned, these people wanted to do bad things. These people wanted to do bad things, and it's good the army came in. You see that profiling. Now, all of a sudden, you have arrested Ugandans in Kenya. And Joe has just mentioned it a little there, but as Ugandans, let's participate on spaces. For me, I pick microphones on Kenyan space and tell them and alert them, and the Kenyans are listening. I tell them, how can a Ugandan army cross to Kisumu and pick Ugandans in Kisumu? Can you doubt? Can you have any doubt that the people who are abducting you in Kenya and killing you, they were killing women in Wakiso, are Ugandans? Just that evidence that the UPDF crossed to Kenya and picked FDC young people who are in a training, and it was a civic training, and now they have labeled them terrorists.
Mujjukira okubanga nayogedde ku nsonga eno ey'abannaffe abaawambibwa e Kenya nti General Museveni ali mu kukibala kukiteeka kugamba muno the Yensi batujju batelalisti ng'ava ku kiri ajja kiteeyo ku Yensi ekinavaamu nga kimalira kamwa Kyagulanyi ku leadership school. Oyo n'omusajja mukulu kyakugamba nti ebikolwa biri mukolebwa e Kenya watya nga General Museveni ali mu kubikolayo. Wagendera n'ajjayo bannayuganda baliyo kitegeeza aswa alina n'obusobozi ogenda obutirimbula bannakenya ne basuula eyo mu biseguusi nga kize kibeera obutemu badde bujja bubeera mu Uganda. Open your eyes, ekijja kikulu.
Who is Bobi Wine's bodyguard? The wife testifies. These guys came with army pips to our home and put it as evidence on my husband, and they made him to sign. Right now, he's now accused as a terrorist. But now this goes again to all these things we're talking about. The political line. I mean, when shall we say enough is enough, even if you are a noob? You need just one person. And that crowd I saw in Mbale takes on the streets. You just need one person, and those crowds we saw in Rukungi in Western Uganda, and they take on the streets. Because look at this, we are now going to enter in another depressive state where now terror is the skit. And you are seeing FDC quiet. FDC, they are busy taking the political line. I mean, this thing disgusts. Why should we sacrifice our own people all the time? Why would you say the bodyguard, our bodyguard has been picked and we remain celebrating? For me, I call it Kadodi dancing, and I was abused and reduced to zero. But that's what it is. Why would they pick a young person whom you all agree that is innocent and you don't take a revolution line? Because this thing must be stopped. Now they are going to continue picking left and right because Museveni knows it only works if when he acts terrorism skits. Ugandans submit. Now Ugandans are just going to watch. This young man picked is going to be tortured to nothing. Therefore, these people picked, they are going to be tortured, and soon they come out as cadres of the regime. And we just can't. For me, this thing hurts me. It's like it is a vicious cycle that we have let. Because even the young people being accused for homosexuals funding, they were being funded by homosexuals. And you're like, but Ugandans, what mind do you have when you say that this good girl is your daughter, the other girl is your daughter, the other one is your son, and they say homosexuals are funding them to do what? And then the young kids come out of Luzira, who have been sodomized in Luzira. And the country, I mean, I don't know. For me, Joseph, sometimes I'm like, yes, it is lamentations, but when shall we change into action? When shall we change into action? When can we take advantage of Ruto must go and just attach Museveni as an accomplished must go? Because if the Kenyans are saying Ruto must go on 8th, The campaign is now 8th of August. And if you listen, they are mobilizing. Border has mobilized all borders, giving transport. If you don't have transport, give them, we shall send money. Because now Ruto has even closed M-Pesa. But they are saying, if you are border, yes, as we are on space here, let us know. Well, they're all going to Nairobi to occupy Nairobi. So if it is nane in Kenya, why can't it be nane in Uganda? It's just a wave that should help us. Sometimes if you can't swim, be humble, stay, and the waves will throw you on the banks. Because nane is going to close off business for Uganda. This is what I was telling the Ugandan traders. Nane closes off Nairobi, closes Mombasa, Langata Road, closes Malaba, Busia, then Uganda is sealed. We just flow with the stream and you survive. But we're not taking advantage. It's like we're not civically getting educated. We're just not even caring about what is happening, what is going on in Kenya. These spaces, if you participate on both ways, they are very engaging. And the Kenyans listen and say, we shall help you with that guy because we know. They were so shocked, said that, yes, if these people came and picked people in Kisumu, then these are the people who are abducting us. So already there is a strong case against Uganda if these young people succeed on nane. But it takes us also to say, we help them with, and helping them is not even picking a stone or what, just going on that space and contributing. Joseph, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, James, for, again, excellent points on, yes, nane in Kenya. And yes, indeed, the Kenyans are a great example. And again, some of us have been discussing how I'm glad that you're on the spaces with them, but our young people hopefully should link up with the Kenyans, take some lessons. Obviously, we perhaps won't do it the way the Kenyans are, like Ugandans are more. It should be a peaceful demonstration, but just pick lessons. How do they do it? Of course, the Kenyans, which is, again, they literally avoided the political leaders, and they kind of did it nationwide. And they used a lot of social media, TikTok, Facebook, all types of social media, and it was a national effort. Hundreds of thousands of people in all the major towns of Kenya, whereby it was not just they went to Nairobi just one day and all the other towns, nothing was happening. They did it nationwide in huge numbers. And that is pretty much what we're still lacking in Uganda, that I'm glad this is an initiative, and I think perhaps we'll get there, but we need a critical mass. And that's where we all come in. How do we support these kids in terms of mobilization, in terms of getting the word out to get people in all the major towns, whereby, if you're marching to parliament, maybe in Arua, we march to the municipal council, or in Abara we go, and of course, we have critical mass in Kampala marching to parliament, but have a coordinated effort. And of course, you talked about FDC activists I read about being picked up in Kenya, and this fragmentation. It's easy to pick on a party and say, oh, these are FDC activists, they're noob activists, and then labeling them, and then kind of isolating them from the rest of the people who don't support FDC or who don't support noob, and say, this is just an FDC terrorist. And of course, Museveni said, yes, these kids were up to no good. He said he would be the very first person to join the protests if they were genuine, but they were not genuine, and were being funded by foreigners, basically. That's what he said. And at our protest on last Friday, he said, obviously, why would people who are suffering evictions in Regi, the villages in Mukono, about 8 villages that are supposed to be displaced because of Akon City, why would they need to be funded for them to join, especially youth from those areas, to join the march to parliament? obviously, Museveni is at loss to explain what is happening. And, this was predictable, but it makes it very difficult for him when we rise up collectively, regardless of our parties, our beliefs, our tribes, or ethnic groups, as I prefer to call them, and we say enough is enough. And that's why this concept of people power was very, very powerful. Once, because when it's people power is amorphous, it's not any particular party, but this whole concept of people power will all rise up together. It makes it very difficult. But once you start getting fragmented and say, oh, we are DP, we are UPC, in this particular, okay, when you go to politics to campaign, yes, that is good. But when you are talking about revolution, we have to look beyond the labels and work together. And which is, I think, why the reasoning behind the pathless, the tribalist, whatever slogan the youth are using, because they realize that once you go into party, or some kind of label, Museveni can easily identify with the leaders and somehow either threaten them or buy them off or do anything to make sure that, it contains, or you can use them to contain whatever you're trying to do. And you can use them to know what plans what you're planning and stop you in your tracks. So I think it's incumbent upon us to support the youth because for me, I'm not amused by anyone who's looking to 2026. I know a lot of our people are looking to 2026, but it's just, Museveni has been at this game for many, many years. Despite the huge numbers, Museveni rigs the elections and kills a lot of our kids. And he's already kind of identifying the people to pick up. So let's use this opportunity. And then after that, we can sort out, given that we have, people know who they elected, people know who they support. Once that is done, we can then, sort out the political question. But right now, because we still need to have elections after Museveni is gone, because we're not going to have a military government. So that has to be done. But in the meantime, we have to get him out. Let's use the opportunity. We should not wait, for 2026. Actually, for me, 2026 does not even exist in my in my vocabulary because it's just, for me, as far as I'm concerned, it's a diversion for politicians to get parliament seats and continue getting money from Museveni and the regime because they get a lot of salaries, they get allocation, party gets allocation, and all that kind of stuff. So we need to stand up and say, let's do something. We should not be looking at 2026. So thank you so much for that. I think James, you've spoken. I'm going to call on Demi now. And then James, I'll come back to you later, but let me call on Demi because she's not spoken yet. Demi, can you unmute, please, and say what you need to say?
Good afternoon, everybody. Last speaker, Dr. Alavi, I want to answer you because you were always open, even if people, they are not happy with you, but I understand where you are coming from. First, Ugandans, they need badly the change. Every Ugandan, the whole Uganda wants change, wants Museveni out. The difference with Kenya is like Kenya, they know what they want and the conditions what they want. What do I explain? Unity is a key word. Kenyan, they put their differences behind them. Bajaluos, they are like this, the rich, the educated, they come together for one cause. Uganda, if you speak, it's like you are educated, you are noble, you are in this class, you were NRM, you are affiliated, you know this one and this one and this one. So we are easily distracted. We are self-destruction of our own self. We need to examine ourselves. We need leaders who can lead a group that keeps them focused, not leaders who are keeping one group happy, body radicals or lefties or righties, without coming to the center, because we need everybody together on the line. If you are going to say, Demi, that I go to Uganda because Impuga pays me, if you say Demi is a Msoga, if you say Demi is a what, you are going to lose me. I'm needed. I need everybody. If you find emotions that you're gonna turn on people, if you feel you don't understand what they are going through, what they are doing, and they say you're gonna go hard on them, annoy them, and you've got careless thinking, we don't care whether I lose you, you can go. So the number is going down. I wanna be honest to you. One of the reasons for me, please accept this, which freaks me, is people to keep on saying youth, youth, youth. Who are the youth? For me, the word youth appeals to me. I know it's those people who are fully charged, self-motivated. I'm not talking about like Evelyn Aniti, at the age of 35, she was calling herself a youth, and she was the minister for the youth. I think we are getting misled. Me, I'm not a youth. I'm very, very active than the young people. On 23rd July, I was already at the starting point. There was no youth. Even when they stopped everything, I went to the parliament. I passed today, I've got the video. So you people, when you keep on saying the youth, in Uganda, we don't have what you call the youth. I'm sorry to tell you that. Because you are hiding, we are young, you don't want to hear, you don't want to cooperate with other people, you don't want to listen. You are not the first young people to desire change. I'm older, I want change more than the young people. Because I pay for school fees, I shouldn't be paying. When young people like now, I had somebody who graduated this year, doesn't have a job, and he still lives in my house. I don't want him there. So when you talk about youth, think about the parents. We pay school fees. After school fees, you got nowhere to go. I pay for your wedding. I pay for everything for you. So let us be like Kenyans, focused. They know what they want, but Ugandans, they don't know what they want. We have to carry on civil education. When you take like your difference, like which makes you different, you are going to lose. Some people I'm speaking, like they're gonna jump on the bandwagon and try and water down what I'm. We cannot put a political argument on the table. We've had triggers after trigger. Look at now. Everybody knows about the prisoners at this moment. Where are we to go on the website of judiciary and put free? We just want just one thing for convenience, to make ourselves happy. We've got leaders who are untouchable. We've got leaders who are not accessible. We've got leaders who think they are the only one perfect. They know everything. At this moment, if we need the revolution to go on and take out Museveni, there are going to be somebody who is going to lead this. I've already said, you must have a ringleader. It doesn't take away the power from the leaders you have. Because you can see everybody is dismissing, I'm not in charge, I'm not. So who is in charge? Without coordination, where are you people? I'm here, where are you? People, they don't want to hear things like that, but we need to build on our capacity. Every Ugandan wants change, but what change are you going to give them? Is it half? Are you excluding some of us because we are older, because you think you are younger? Let me tell you, there is a saying which says, in Uganda, abato batandika entalo abakulu ne tuzigusa. There must be a reason why they are saying that. As I'm looking at the revolution, people, you are lost. 1 minute you go to Buganda Kingdom and you make it, whoa, now the king is back. You are quiet. It's like you lose your focus from Museveni. If we want to fight corruption, we are going to fight it, but you cannot fight when Museveni is still there. We can take all these people out, he's going to replace them. Until we start listening to messages which are maybe negative or constructive, and we look at ourselves and we find a solution, then we are going to be here. I'm telling you, I've been in Uganda and I'll always be there. Some people, they say I go to Uganda because of, I don't care. I don't care. Now I know people, they have caused me too much pain. Now I somehow don't even care. Because if you belong to a group which is going to cause you pain, then there is no purpose of that. Now I'm on my own. I do my business. I raise up case for prisoners every day is my commitment. From that, no more commitment. But we have to stop making our lives so difficult. We have to stop. We have to start fighting Museveni, not fighting for ourselves. You prefer to fight ourselves than fight Museveni. We don't fight politically. We don't talk about economy. We don't talk about social issues. We get attracted wherever there's something to do with money. If we are going to New Uganda, we've got lots of things to be doing. Like now the interns, they don't have money. Why don't we bring them on our board? If you keep on saying youth, those are interns, they're not going to come because youth, it means 14 to 20 years, people. Thank you for that opportunity.
Sister Demi, before you go off, sorry, Joseph. Sister Demi, before you go off, give us something, a quote from the Constitution for our people, to encourage each and every one of us, because we are trying to reclaim our nation. So I know you love the Constitution. Just give us a quote or just a brief submission.
Article 1, power belongs to the people. That means that it's our power, it's not for the government. Article 2, it says, it's our responsibility as citizens to defend our country. It's time we defend our country. Article 3 goes on and says, the Constitution is the supremacy. So if there is nothing beyond, it should be the Constitution. Article 164, it says, people, they will be held accountable. So all the people, they are going to be accountable. And chapter 4, it talks about fundamental rights for the people. Article 29, 1D, it says, if we gather peacefully, we are allowed to demonstrate. So Ugandans, we need to take our country back. So if we use our Constitution, we translate it that way, so we can stand up and say to the policeman, your duty, Article 212, is to protect me and my property. And for UPDF, Article 208 is to create harmony. Is not to come and guard me and beat me and intimidate me with the African member. And also for the parliament, they are there to legislate, not in their own benefit, for the interest of Uganda. And then the Constitution says it's for everybody. It's not because NRM, they have got majority, but also minority. Something has got to be done in that interest of Uganda. And the last one, the last discussion, Article 102A, it says to be a president of Uganda, you must be born in Uganda. So whichever way NRM is trying, we should not allow Kanyerugaba, whatever names he's got, other names hidden, Muhoz, to be a president of Uganda. Article 59, it talks about election, free and fair. So we know it's not going to be unfair. Article 75, it says Uganda is not a single political party. We are multi-party. So they must allow us to participate. They must allow to demonstrate. And we should also be like we are together. Forget about FDC. Listen to Stella Nyanzi. She's talking about unity. People, they look at her controversial life. But for me, I prefer somebody who preaches unity than preaches disunity. So let's go. Don't think about anything. Our constitution is primacy. Article 3, it says, whatever everybody has done wrong, it will be changed. Some 7 has taken out term limits, we'll bring it back. Age limit, we'll bring back. Bring him horse, we'll put him out. So don't fear anything. Don't fear, don't fear, don't fear. We have got everything, but we are self-destruction. We are fighting too much. We hate ourselves. Let us hate himself. Let us hate bad governance. But we are just self-destruction. For me, I look at topics which like occupy people, and I'm saying, oh my God, I can't believe it. Let us go and stand under those trucks, and we see if they're gonna walk over us. They're even scared, I'm telling you. They haven't got too much like we think. A lot of things they have changed. The whole world is into them. Let us go and stand there. They are not going to walk over us, I'm telling you. But we need unity. Don't talk to me about youth. I'm sorry about you people. I'm not young. I'm not going to be young. And I haven't seen what the young people like they are doing in other countries. Our young people, they are too, I don't know, too much excuse. They like to be called young. They are not young. Young people, they listen when you tell them don't go there or do this, but this, and they are being lost into this whatever cyber world. We are young. We are, Kenyans are going. I just been to work now. Let me tell you something. There is somebody from Kenya I work with. She doesn't want to talk to me. She said, you Ugandans, you want Museveni too much. I said, no, you want Museveni too much. No. She doesn't want to talk to me. She says, because Kenyans, they've been helping us, and we Ugandans, we are not helping ourselves.
That's
if
right.
we plan a day like this, leaders don't sleep in your house. We need to do something for 3 days, for 2 weeks, and we get rid of this man. If we don't, every Ugandan is looking for survival. Wherever you meet a Ugandan has got a wallet in their pocket, either here or here.
Hey, sister.
Young or old. Hey.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sister Demi, for your passionate submission. And I really like the Constitution. We will have a session where we are going to talk on the Constitution and people power, what exactly it means, and of course, the non-violent action. Talk of leaders, I would like to acknowledge our leader, Dr. Lina Waru Zedriga, from our Deputy President for Northern Uganda. And of course, I don't know, allow me to call you ma'am. She's our ma'am on this platform, and we salute you. I know you might be listening in. We salute you. Yes. Thank you so much, Doctor, for attending. And of course, each and every one of you, thank you for attending the Zoom. Please continue to share the link, even though we are about to come to a close. share that link. Thank you so much, Sister Demi, for educating us and touching on the Constitution. We will be doing so much on the Constitution. So this call is a call to all Ugandans. Let us be concerned about our nation. Let us be mindful. Let us have that humility. Let us know that we shouldn't let our neighbors, our friends go through all this torture. You know, the dictator has subjected so many families in Uganda to torture whilst we sit, you know, and let us not sit and watch. Whether you're in the diaspora or on ground, we must be concerned. Let us take that collective action and fight for our nation. You know, regardless of your political affiliation, your age, your religion, let us work together. If we say we are going to have a march, let it be so. Instead of a handful going and then they are abducted. So let us mean business. And corruption, who is the most or topmost corrupt person? That's Museveni himself. He must go. He must be stopped. Let us be a serious bunch of people. Thank you, Sister Demi, for that. You will come back next week to teach us on the Constitution. Yes, Comrade Everett.
Awulira bulungi bannayuganda obulumi bwe tulina bwe tuyitamu naye nga tubuyitamu abamu ndowooza twefusulirayo gwa naggamba tugamba tebitukwatako oba zirindaba olwange batayi bange bwe tunadda mu zirindaba olwange bwe tunadda mu tebinkwatako bwe tutamanya obuvunaanyizibwa bwaffe nti guno omulembe gwaffe era ffe tulina okugulwanirira ffe tulina okugusitula ffe tulina okugujja mu nvuba gye gulimu okuguteeka we twetakula nga tusitula eggwanga laffe tulifuula ery'enjawulo ebigambo bijja kutusobako n'ekyo tusituke tukwatire wamu tulabe nga tutereeza eggwanga lyaffe ate nga kijja kusoboka kubanga agala wamu ge galuma ennyama ffe tukole ebyo bigwanidde okukolebwa okulaba nga kuba General Museveni atali mu kwerabisa buli kadde olera ebikolobero byonna ebiri e Kenya babimu biteeka ku ye ekyo kituyamba kwongera okufuna obujulizi Koti Yensi Yona bwe yeetaaga ICC nti ono agenda ne Kenya n'attirayo abantu baayo titakomye kutta ku bannayuganda banna Kenya nabo agenda n'abatta ekyo kijja kwongera okutuwa amaanyi n'obuvumo n'okwongera okuwaayo obujulizi mu Koti Yensi Yona ICC okwongera okufuna grounds mwe bamukabira nti agenda abitebye.